Hello, welcome. My name is Jordan Rush, and today we'll discuss a crucial topic affecting workplace fairness: pay discrimination. Specifically, we will focus on the Equal Pay Act and its role in ensuring equal pay for equal work. This knowledge will empower us to create a level playing field for all employees that work across the United States of America. What is the Equal Pay Act? Let's start by understanding the basis of the Equal Pay Act. This act was enacted in 1963, also known as the EPA for short. It serves as a crucial purpose in our workplaces, and its primary function is to eliminate pay discrimination based on gender. Specifically, it ensures that any individuals who perform equal work under the same working conditions will receive an equal pay regardless of their gender. In layman's terms, this means if two employees are performing the same task and they are given the same responsibilities, they will receive the same dollar amount in pay, regardless of their sex, male or female. Enactment of the Equal Pay Act. As stated in the previous slide, the Equal Pay Act was signed into law on June 10th, 1963. It was signed by the United States Congress, and this legislative action marked a significant milestone in the pursuit of workplace equality. By passing this law, Congress aimed to address the issue of gender-based pay discrimination and promote a more fair environment within the workplace. This fosters a work environment where everyone is valued and compensated fairly based on their contributions to the job and their responsibilities, rather than their gender and sex. Prior to the act, women were often paid significantly less than men while completing identical work within the same work environment. Counterparts at the state and federal levels. While the Equal Pay Act sets the standard at the federal level, many states have taken additional steps to address pay discrimination within their jurisdictions. These state-level laws often mirror the principles of the EPA, but may include additional provisions to strengthen protections for their workers. For instance, states like California and New York have enacted their own equal pay equity laws in recent years, building upon the foundation which was laid by the federal government and their Equal Pay Act. These state laws serve to complement the EPA and provide further avenues for combating pay discrimination at both levels. As of January of 2017, California Governor Brown signed a bill that added race and ethnicity as protected categories of their statewide Equal Pay Act. In New York, employers who violate the state's Equal Pay Act must pay the difference between what has been earned and what was actually earned. These differences can be up to penalties 3 times the original amount owed. Compliance. Ensuring compliance with the Equal Pay Act is essential for upholding workplace fairness and equality. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC for short, serves as the primary enforcing body for the EPA. The EEOC employs several mechanisms to ensure organizations are adhering to the provisions of the law. Firstly, the EEOC accepts and investigates complaints filed by employees alleging pay discrimination. These investigations involve gathering evidence, entering relevant parties, and assessing whether the employer's pay practices comply with the law. Additionally, the EEOC conducts proactive audits and reviews of employers' pay practices to identify any potential violations. Furthermore, the EEOC provides guidance and resources to organizations to help them understand their obligations under the Equal Pay Act and implement effective compliance strategies. By employing these methods, the EEOC works to hold organizations accountable for pay discrimination and promote adherence to the law's requirements. Case number 1. The first notable case that exemplifies the ongoing efforts to combat pay discrimination under the Equal Pay Act is the EEOC versus First Metro Financial Services. In this case, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission took legal action against First Metro Financial Services, alleging that there was violations of the Equal Pay Act. The EEOC asserted that the company had engaged in pay discrimination based on gender, failing to provide equal compensation to female employees compared to their male counterparts for substantially a similar work job. As a result of the lawsuit, a settlement agreement was reached with First Metro Financial Services, agreeing to pay over $152,000 to resolve allegations of pay discrimination. This case serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance in addressing pay disparities and holding employers accountable for compliance with the Equal Pay Act. Another case that addresses pay discrimination under the Equal Pay Act is the EEOC versus Jerry Chevrolet. There were pay discrimination allegations against Jerry Chevrolet and the companies related under them. Jerry Chevrolet failed to pay female workers equivalent pay compared to their male counterparts as well. This time, the lawsuit being over $300,000 to resolve these allegations. This case took place in Maryland, so it is very likely that this case followed a similar pay structure in the way that they handled things due to the fact that they are very close to New York and in similar proximity, which led them to be charged 3 times the amount of violated pay. Compliance suggestions for managers. Managers play a critical role in ensuring compliance with the Equal Pay Act and promoting fair pay practices within the organization. Managers should conduct regular pay equity audits to identify and address any disparities amongst employees. Managers should also provide training to other managers on pay discrimination laws and what practices are best for fair compensation. Lastly, managers should also implement transparent pay scales and criteria for determining salaries and ensure that compensation decisions are based on objective factors rather than a subjective bias. By taking these proactive steps, managers can help foster a culture of fairness and equality within the workspace. Supervisors, similar to managers, are also very critical in ensuring that the Equal Pay Act is responsibly carried out within the workplace. Supervisors should review and justify any pay discrepancies amongst employees who are performing similar work and ensure that compensation is based on legitimate factors. Supervisors should also encourage open communication about pay concerns, providing any and all employees with avenues to raise concerns or issues or questions that they may have. Lastly, supervisors should promptly report any violations of the Equal Pay Act to the Human Resources Department or a compliance officer for investigation and resolution. By keeping a transparent work environment, supervisors can help uphold the principles and fairness of the Equal Pay Act in the workspace. Lastly, we have those who are affected the most from the Equal Pay Act and usually are going to be the most responsible for upholding it. The employees play a vital role in promoting compliance with the Equal Pay Act and advocating for fair pay practices. Employees should educate themselves about their rights under the Equal Pay Act. This includes understanding what is pay discrimination and how to address it. Employees should advocate for pay transparency within the organization and encourage open discussions with their supervisors and managers about compensation practices. Employees should also report any instances to the Human Resources Department, just like the managers and supervisors do. This will ensure that concerns are addressed and are resolved in accordance with the law. By staying informed about the practices and speaking up when it is time, employees can contribute to creating a better workplace for everyone. They should also hold their supervisors and managers accountable And if they do not listen, take it to the higher power above them. As we conclude today's presentation, it is important to recognize that pay discrimination undermines the principles of fairness and equality that are essential to having a healthy and productive workplace. The Equal Pay Act serves as a critical tool in combating this injustice, but it requires our collective efforts from the management level, the employee level, supervisor level, state and federal level to ensure that compliance and enforcement are properly done all around. By understanding and adhering to these provisions of the law, we can create a work environment where every employee is treated with respect and where opportunities are based on the employee's merit rather than their gender or any other characteristic of them. Let's commit to upholding the principles of fairness and equality in pay and working together to build a better, more inclusive future for all around the United States of America. Thank you again. My name is Jordan Rush, and I hope you gained some insight today on pay discrimination under the Equal Pay Act.